and welcome to another very exciting episode here on the MIgardener channel. I know you're all gonna love this one because this episode is how to make an inexpensive indoor organic fertilizer. Now, many of you know that try to go 100% organic, your options are pretty limited when it comes to organic fertilizers that don't smell very bad when used indoors. It's something that, outdoors you can go with something a little more smelly like a fish emulsion or chicken manure, things like that. Outside, because there's some there's some dissipation that happens quite quickly and you're mixing it into the soil and all that kind of stuff. But for houseplants or seedlings, things like that, if you're starting seedlings or you have houseplants and you bring over guests, you don't want your house to smell like a fish processing plant. You just don't. It stinks. And so I have been on the search for quite a while to find a non-smelly, very potent organic fertilizer for indoor use. And for those of you that have heard of seaweed extract or basically kelp meal, things like that, there's a lot of different names for it. That is what I'm going to show you how to make today. Now, I've been using seaweed extract in the garden for a very, very long time, and I'm going to show you how to make it yourself because I think it's an extremely cost-effective way to make something that costs quite a bit of money. So all you want to do is you just want to take some seaweed. Now, seaweed needs to be unroasted. It can come roasted or just dried, and I need you to get just dried because if you get the roasted kind, all the properties are going to be gone. Now, seaweed is an amazing fertilizer for your plants. It is super rich in micronutrients and basically trace minerals, but it's also extremely high in nitrogen and potassium. What we're going to do is we're going to extract those nutrients into the water. So the next thing you're going to want to do is, because seaweed comes from the ocean, you're going to want to wash it to make sure there's any salt residue is off of the seaweed. Now, a lot of times this is already comes pre-washed, but this is just an extra step to ensure that no salt gets in your soil because salt is very bad for your plants. Salt and plants don't go well together. And so we're going to wash it off. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it into a blender. And we've just put about 4 to 5 cups into a blender and we're blending it up to make sure that the surface area of the seaweed is smaller. The smaller the surface area, the faster the extraction process is going to be. So what typically happens when you soak seaweed into water is that there's water-soluble nutrients. But it takes a long time if the seaweed strips are whole to extract. We're talking a week or 2 weeks to make that happen. And that's just, I don't have that type of time. So what we have done is we've broken down the surface area 200, 300 times smaller, maybe even more than that. And we've allowed for there to be even smaller bits and pieces of seaweed. Still the same amount of seaweed. We've just used, like a couple handfuls of seaweed, and it's made a giant tub. So then what you want to do is you want to just let this soak in some more water. And we have here just about a little under a gallon of water here. And we're going to simply take this seaweed here and we're going to put it in the water. Now, what this has done with making sure that we've increased the surface area is it's going to decrease the soak time by about 10 times. So the results may vary on your soak time. You want to at least soak it for 5 hours. I recommend soaking it for at least 10 hours. Here is the one I made 15 hours ago. Now again, you can go 5 to 10 hours on your soak time. The longer you let it soak, the more chance of having all those beneficial properties in the water. However, too long, like I said, it starts to stink. I made this last night because due to scheduling, I needed to make it ahead of time. So we have one here that's been sitting for 15 hours. And let me see here, it smells like the ocean. So nothing, no harm done there. So what we want to do is we want to just strain it out because you want to make sure you just get just the liquid because there's a lot of seaweed chunks in here. These can go into the compost pile. I prefer not to put them into my plants, just because it can cause mold and stuff. It is an organic, it's an organic substance here. So we want just and there'll be some pulp too, but we want just the liquid. So this makes a ton. You probably don't have to make as much as I made. I just filled up about 3/4 of a gallon. We've only used about half of what we made, and we still have the other batch that I just made. So we are definitely going to have enough seaweed extract for a while. Now again, this does have to be used. You don't want to let this set, because the same thing will happen. It won't necessarily lose nutrient properties, but it's going to begin to smell more and more. So it's best to use this right away. After you've done the extracting, it's best to just use it and make it fresh the next time, just because you just don't want this sitting around. All right, so then what you want to do is you just want to mix in a 1-to-1 ratio. So we had about a half a gallon of the seaweed extract, and we want to put that in with about a half a gallon of water. And again, that's going to make another gallon. So as you can see, this goes a very long way. Now this is diluted to the point where you can apply it to seedlings or mature houseplants. It's going to be very good for them, loaded with nutrients, and it's going to really be one of the most beneficial things that you can do for your houseplants that's not going to have any foul smell. And so here we go. This is the batch I just made up. This is the 1-to-1 mix. It's ready to apply to plants. We still have the other half that needs to be strained and mixed 1-to-1. So that's gonna make about another gallon. So that's 2 gallons just from one batch, and it's more than I need. And again, I also just made up a batch before this video started to show you the process. And so that's gonna make another 2 gallons. So I have about 4 gallons of seaweed extract. So if you want some, come get some. No, I'm probably gonna dump some around the perennial trees and shrubs and stuff around the house, and because we don't need that much. We don't have that many houseplants. But yeah, so basically through this process, I wanted to show you that a little bit of seaweed goes a very, very long way. And you can add more seaweed if you want, but it's not going to do a whole lot more good. But yes, you can add more seaweed if you want. A little bit of seaweed goes a very long way. And you might be asking, well, how much did this big bag of seaweed cost? And from our local Korean market, it cost us $10, right around $10. I think it was like $10.20. And this big bag here, as you can see, is hardly dented. And what we took out of it was enough to make 4 gallons of seaweed extract. Now, let me put this into perspective in this very friendly PSA, public service announcement, PSA. If you are buying a 32-ounce little container of seaweed extract, you're going to be paying right around $12.50 to $15. Now, let's have a moment of silence for all the dollars that people have wasted. All right, I think that was enough of a moment of silence. So, I'm trying to save you money, and I for a long time bought it, and once I realized this trick, I was like, why am I buying? So yeah, you are getting the exact same results that they are getting, and it's a no-brainer. So hopefully you all will try it. Hopefully you will save money and have amazing results. And again, this can be used on seedlings. It can be used on houseplants. It can be used on your vegetables outside. Doesn't matter to me. So anyways, hopefully you all are having a very great day. Hopefully you all learned something new. Let me know in the comments box below if you decide to try this. And as always, I'll talk to you later. See ya.